Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Sutherland.
Thank you, Chris. And good evening. Once again, welcome to the 2014 Robert Burns Dinner. And it has been a good night thus far. We've reconnected with old friends. We've made some new ones. We've toasted the presidents, Her Majesty the Queen, Scotland, and each other. We've sung our national anthems, we've addressed the haggis, we've indulged in the same. We've enjoyed a grand dinner. We've been enveloped by the sounds of the pipes. And we've seen the bottom of many a glass already. And all in celebration of Robert Burns, Scotland's national poet. And it is Robert Burns that I have the privilege of honouring in tonight's immortal memory. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, you've seen all this pomp and circumstance, and you just have to be sitting there, thinking one single thought. What the heck is wrong with these people? I mean, for all you regulars, put the swords back in the sheaths. Take a step back for a moment. For those of us who are Scottish or celebrate our connections to Scotland on a regular basis, this is all rather normal. But for those of us who are new among us, the lads are wearing what's in your mind, even if you don't dare speak it, look a wee bit like skirts. We've spoken in prose to a lump of meat and then attacked it with a dagger. We've gone out of our way to insult the other sex and raised our glasses in agreement. We've quoted some guy from Scotland who's been dead for a long time, and you're not quite sure why we remember him. The bagpipes, they were either rapturous to you or some sort of medieval torture. And there's a heck of a lot of drinking going on. And you're not sure if the people at the table next to you are going to start hugging or start the next war between the clans. Welcome to Scotland. But in all seriousness, those are some honest questions. Why do we celebrate Robert or Rabbi Burns? Would it not be better to celebrate some other Scot we can seemingly connect much better to our lives today? Alexander Graham Bell, for instance, who invented the telephone. Kirkpatrick Macmillan, Thomas McCall, they invented the pedal bicycle. John Boyd Dunlop, inventor of the pneumatic tire. David Dunbar Buick, inventor of the overhead valve engine. James Watt, who was famous for his work on steam engines. John Paul Jones, who created the US Navy. John Logie Baird, he had the first working television and the first color television, and we thank him daily. Robert Watson Watt, who invented radar. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a little-known book called Sherlock Holmes. J.M. Barrie, never heard of J.M. Barrie's work, Peter Pan. John Napier, really smart guy, invented logarithms. Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, surely he might be a more worthy Scot. Sir Alexander Fleming, penicillin was his invention. William Cullen, the inventor of the refrigerator. William Patterson, founder of the Bank of England, much to the chagrin of many Englishmen today. B.C. Forbes, founder of Forbes magazine, or one of the many, many other Scots who have changed the world. So why not them? Why Robert Burns? Why celebrate a poet who was born January 25th, 1759, in the village of Alloway, Scotland, just south of Ayr? His parents, tenant farmers. He received a good education, and they helped him become an avid reader. And his fame across Scotland after the release of his first published works of poetry at the age of 27 made him the Will Smith or Justin Timberlake of his time. Yes, for those of you who almost choked on your scotch, Robert Burns did just get compared to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And he died at a young age, 37, after a hard life with many ups and downs took its toll on his health. But why celebrate this man? Why are we here, 255 years later, honoring a poet, a writer, a farmer? That's a deep question. True, his song, Auld Lang Syne, is the second most sung song in the world, surpassed only by that fun little ditty that Buddy the Elf sang to Santa Claus on his last birthday. And he was born just 15 miles from where I was born, so for me personally, I'm celebrating the hometown hero. But I think the answer to why we celebrate Robert Burns lies in all of us. The answer, I think, is found in a mirror. Because Robert Burns is all of us. We see the evidence of that when we examine who he was through the words he penned, which this Scot with his Americanized English accent will attempt to do justice to. He was a staunch defender of the right to bear arms, a strong national defense, and the stand against tyranny, as seen in Scott's Wahey. Scott's Wahey with Wallace bled, Scots whom Bruce has often led. Welcome to your gory bed, or to victory. Now's the day and now's the hour. See the front of battle lower. See approach proud Edward's power. Chains and slavery. Who will be a traitor knave? Who will fill a coward's grave? Who sebases be a slave? Let him turn and flee. Who for Scotland's king and law freedom's sword will strongly draw? Freeman stand or freeman fall? Let him on with me. By oppression's woes and pains, by your sons in servile chains, we will drain our dearest veins, but they shall be free. Lay the proud usurpers low, tyrants fall in every foe. Liberty is in every blow. Let us do or die. He was a critic of the ruling class. He was a herald of equality, as seen in A Man's a Man. You see yon murky called a lord, who struts and stares and all that. Though hundreds worship at his word, he's but a coof for all that. For all that and all that, his ribbon star and all that, the man of independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A king can make a belted knight, a marquis duke and all that. But an honest man to boon his might, good faith he maun afford that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith of sense and pride of worth are higher ranks than all that. He was a farmer, an environmentalist, and an animal lover, as we see in his poem, To a Mouse. Wee, sleekit, cowering, timorous beastie, oh, what panics in thy breastie, thou nee nae start away so hasty with bickering brattle. I was be late to rin and chase thee with murder and prattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. Robert Burns was both a failure in relationships and a hopeless romantic. His romantic side was captured in his poem, A Red, Red Rose. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played into. She's gonna kill me later. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I. And I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. He wrote of the weather, and he seemed to have an unnatural affinity to freezing, tempestuous weather, similar to what we've been experiencing lately. As seen in winter, a dirge. The wintry west extends his blasts, and hail and rain does blow, while the stormy north sends driving forth a blinding sleet and snow. Or tumbling down, the burn comes down and roars frae bank to brae, and bird and beast in covert rest pass the heartless day. The sweeping blast the sky o'ercast, the joyless winter day, that others fear to me more dear than all the pride of May. The tempest how it soothes my soul, my griefs it seems to join. The leafless trees my fancy please, their fate resembles mine. He enjoyed his food, as we have seen in his address to the haggis we enjoyed earlier, containing such affectionate filled prose as "Fair fall ye on his sonsy face, great chieftain of the puddin' race." Robert Burns was aware of his mortality, as seen in the prospect of death. O thou unknown, almighty cause of all my hope and fear, in whose dread presence, ere an hour, perhaps I must appear. He didn't believe everything he read or was told, as any good internet user today hopefully mimics, as he writes in the first lines of Death and Dr. Holbrook, a true story. Some books are lies fra end to end, and some great lies were never penned. And he loved a good story, as he wrote many, including the famous Tam O'Shanter. The wind blew as 'twad blown its last, the rattling showers rose on the blast, the speedy gleams that darkness swallowed, loud, deep, and lang, the thunder bellowed. That night, a child might understand, the devil had business on his hand. And I could go on, but because your glasses are getting dangerously low, and you're all armed at least with a ski and do, I will bring this little poetic journey to an end. So why do we celebrate Robert Burns, a poor Scot from the late 1700s? It's because Burns, or at least some aspect of Burns, is us. And I'd go a wee bit further also, and say that Burns is a reflection of our own desires to do something that matters, that makes a difference in the lives of others and in history. We can all look at Robert Burns and find something we identify with. He is us. We can also look at Robert Burns and see a poor farmer from Ayr, Scotland, and see how he changed the world with his words and with his example. And we can all be inspired by that. So ladies and gentlemen, lads and lassies, please charge your glasses and be upstanding as we toast Robert Burns.